So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to this YouTube channel where we try to analyze the dynamics of doing Uber business in Nairobi. And when I say Uber business, I mean taxi driving, all applications included. That is Bolt, Litrocab, Faras, and others. So in today's video, we are going to do an analysis of what I expect to happen in the industry come 2025. Already, I have done a series of videos announcing to you the recent changes made by the taxi companies so that drivers and riders can be compliant. So when we move into 2025, in a week's time, I think that quite a number of things will happen. First of all, we are expecting Uber to set themselves apart. I think they want to become that company that is known for quality. That company that will be known for newer vehicles. That company that will be known for vehicles that are not more than 12 years old. So they will be known for vehicles that have the newest number plate in the market, because they have said all the old vehicles are going to be eliminated from the market by 2025. So Uber is actually strategizing to set themselves apart by insisting on visible qualities of a vehicle. Sometimes you can see a vehicle that is too old in terms of number plate, in terms of body shape, and a lot of people might link that old shape and that old number plate to poor quality. So for the perceived quality, Uber want to position themselves as that company that will be seen to have the newest vehicles in the market, because I think in a way they have seen that they have gone the lowest they could have gone. They have competed on the price until the price right now it is at its lowest, and I think Uber has seen that moving forward they might not be able to compete on price anymore, because every day there will be the rise of new companies, there will be a rise in new applications that will get into the market, and every time you have more companies competing, the most typical field of competition will be dictated by price. So every application will try to lower their prices as low as possible so that they can get more customers to use their application. So Uber has done that for the longest time, and right now where prices of these apps are in Kenya, I mean the fares that customers are paying for Uber, for Bolt, when they take trips, they cannot be lowered anymore. So a company has now to choose its own strategy, and Uber has decided that moving forward they will only be onboarding newer vehicles that are not more than is it 10 years old? Yes, 10 years old or 12, because right now they are saying they are only accepting 2015. Yes, right now they are only onboarding vehicles that are 10 years old. So they are only accepting 2015 models. But if your vehicle has been on the platform before 2025, it will be allowed to continue as long as it is not more than 12 years old. So that is one thing that we need to observe moving forward. So as a result, we are going to see a lot of drivers migrate from Bolt, because by default, if your car has been relegated from Uber or it has made useless by Uber, it doesn't mean that that is the end of driving for you. You can choose other applications like Bolt, like Litrocab or Faras that have less insistence or less emphasis on the age of the vehicle. So we will have more drivers. A lot of drivers, a lot of passengers will migrate to Bolt. So Uber, they don't care. I think they have decided to give away part of the market share to other companies that do not insist on a high quality vehicle. Let them operate in that market, let them compete on the basis of price, but Uber want to set themselves up there as that prestigious company that only accepts newer vehicles. So what I expect is that moving forward, a lot of drivers will position themselves to operate exclusively on Bolt. Then prices between Bolt and Uber are now going to be more pronounced. There will be a significant difference between how much Bolt is charging per trip and how much Uber is going to charge per trip. And for Bolt, it will be much cheaper because, of course, it's not a luxury position they are taking. They are taking a position whereby they provide movement of people from point A to B, regardless of the machine that is carrying you, whether it's an old vehicle or a newer vehicle. What they want to guarantee you is that you'll be moved from where you are to where you want to go. So prestige, maybe luxury and newer models is not their priority. And for that reason, I think that the price that Bolt will charge could go down further or stay at the lowest. While for Uber moving forward, if you are a customer or if you are a rider, expect to pay higher prices when you request for a trip. From 2025 moving forward all the way to 2026 and above, because they have said that the vehicles that they are going to remove, it will take effect by end of 2025. But they will not wait until the end of 2025 to implement drastic price increase. They will start doing that gradually, I believe, in 2025, so that by the end of the year, they will have already implemented a big part of the increase that they want to position themselves as a better company than others, and then passengers or travelers will see a need for them to pay a higher premium for a trip. So that is one thing that I see that will happen. Secondly, there will be also a drastic decrease in terms of part-time driving, because what I know is that a lot of part-time drivers don't have the newest vehicles in the market. So you'll find that a lot of people that I know that do part-time driving, their vehicles are relatively the old one. So they have like 2010 models, 2011, 2013. All of those guys, when Uber decides to relegate every vehicle, theirs, including mine, will be impacted. That means as a part-time driver, you don't want to wait so much before you get a trip. You have to make sure that you are online with all the apps that give drivers more work. That is Bolt, that is Uber. Without those two apps, it is difficult for one to do effective part-time driving, because effective part-time driving means that you only have 2 hours to drive, for example, and you must make sure that for those 2 hours, you are not wasting them waiting for a request. You have to make sure that you are online and you are carrying people back to back. And the only thing that can guarantee you a back-to-back kind of situation with regard to trips, like when you drop, you get another one, you drop, you get another one, it will only be possible if you have apps that have high requests or that are on high demand, and that is Uber and Bolt. If you are online only with Bolt, because as we move forward, we are saying that Uber will remove our vehicles. So meaning if I want to get to part-time driving, I can only get in there with Bolt. And Bolt for me, it is not enough, because probably I will have to wait for a longer period of time before I get a trip. And you'll find that for the 2 hours I have to drive, maybe I will only drive for 1 hour, because for the first trip, maybe I will have just 1 hour, or the second trip I'll have another. Maybe for the first trip, I will have to wait for 30 minutes, and the second trip I wait for another 30 minutes before I get the next trip. So in my analysis, we need to understand that everything is going to change, and competition right now is going to be what we call segmented. Competition is going to be segmented in 2025. Companies are going to position themselves in a way that they are not going only to compete on price. Right now, we have seen that kind of positioning taking shape with certain applications like Litrocab, very well known for their strategic positionings with regard to corporate trips. A lot of drivers who understand how each app works will tell you that Litro Cab is very good during weekdays. Call it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, because Friday a lot of people probably will work from home. A lot of people will maybe be off, will take some days off. So but Monday to Thursday, a lot of corporates ensures that their staff work from office, and during those 4 days Litro Cab will give drivers a lot of requests because there are so many movements for people working in companies. During the weekends, you will hear it from drivers that Litro Cab is one of the worst apps to try and operate with during weekend, because weekends people are on holiday, people are at home, nobody is going to work. So if you are carrying company staffs, you will not get anyone to carry during the weekend. So if you are relying on the individuals who don't use corporate trips to operate on Litro Cab, then you will get very little trips. And then for Faras, already Faras is very well known. I would say is a very kind of a regional app. It operates very well within the Nairobi CBD area and some areas that are well known to be occupied by certain business people. That is mostly the Somali guys. So if you go to Isli, if you go to Ngara, if you go to town, if you go to Kilimani, but there are some areas, I am telling you, if you go with Faras, you will not get a return trip with Faras. So drivers who target to work with Faras quite well, they know areas whereby Faras is the strategic app to use. But again, for Bolt, is that the most strange app that I would talk about, because one moment Bolt will be the cheapest, and then in another moment Bolt will be the most expensive. And drivers who are sharp, they know how to utilize Bolt strategically. So if you go into low-end areas, you know that a trip with Bolt there will be very cheap. You can get actually a trip worth 220, then it will have a discount. Then the money you receive at the end of that trip, it will be like 150 shillings. If you go to town, and by town I mean the Westland area, the Kilimani, and then it rains, for example, Bolt has a tendency of doing what we call surge pricing. So they will drastically triple or even double, quadruple a price. A trip that was ordinarily to cost 200 shillings, Bolt can charge it 800 if at all there is too much request and the number of drivers are not as many. So those things already are very well known, but now in the eyes of everyone, things are going to change a bit in 2025. So I'm saying the number of part-time drivers is going to go down due to the fact that will be limited in terms of the number of apps that we can operate on and the cars we can use. So what else do I expect to change moving forward? I expect that people now will only be buying very, very small vehicles that are cheap, vehicles that will be able to pay themselves within a period of 4 years, because we are saying that if Uber insists that a vehicle on their platform should not be more than 8 years, if it should not be more than 12 years, sorry, then it means that a vehicle that gets into Uber for the first time will ideally have only 4 years to operate. Because what all of you guys know is that in Kenya we buy ex-Japan vehicles, and ex-Japan vehicles we buy them when they are 8 years old already. So they have been used in Japan for 8 years. So the newest vehicle in Kenya that you will get in a showroom is already 8 years old from the year of manufacture. So if Uber says that they don't want a vehicle that is more than 12 years old, then it means you only have 4 years for your car to work on Uber before it is kicked out. And once it is kicked out, we are not saying that it will completely become useless, but definitely drivers want to operate on all applications. You don't want a situation whereby you are not working with Uber. So in 2025, I think a lot of investors will do their math and only buy vehicles that can pay themselves back and get some profit within 4 years. Because I had interviewed a driver, a partner who had invested in a Mazda Demio of around 1.3 million. And I have also seen so many others that have invested in Honda Fit, in which other vehicle, in some other good vehicles that cost around 1.3 million or 1.2. But their secret of investing that a lot of money is due to the fact that they bet on the longevity or the long-term service of that vehicle. They are saying that instead of them buying a Suzuki Alto that will serve them for 4-5 years, why not invest in a Mazda Demio that will serve them for like 8 or 9 years? You get my point? So for all the 8-9 years that vehicle will be doing Uber and Bolt, then their 1.3 million will be back, and then that vehicle will definitely have paid itself back. But again, right now we are saying that whether it is a Demio, whether it is a Honda Fit, a Suzuki Alto, after 4 years, we will not accept you to work with that vehicle anymore. And that will make that investors will not go for vehicles. In as much as they want to focus on the long-term investment in the business, they will not go for vehicles that cannot pay themselves within 4 years. And again, something else that will change as I finish this video is my story of second-hand vehicles. I hope it is not because that Uber watched my videos and decided that they are going to change their strategy. And if that is the case, then I must be very powerful in terms of the voices that I'm raising, because my insisting on people going for second-hand was for the simple reason that this business does not have a lot of money. You can only make good money if your initial cost of investment is low. And here I am saying, if you are buying a car to do Uber with, think first of all, how do you reduce your cost of investment right from the beginning? I have said there are several strategies, and one of the easiest strategy but a bit risky has always been to go for a second-hand vehicle. Because if you go for a second-hand vehicle and you do your good due diligence, then that vehicle can save you up to 50% of what you would have otherwise paid for a similar vehicle bought straight from the showroom. So that is the first thing. Secondly, I always talk about how you buy your vehicle and how you finance it. There are certain means of financing a vehicle that will make you never enjoy the fruits of this business. There are some ways of financing that are too expensive, but to some drivers or to some investors, they are the only available ways for them to finance their vehicles. So if you go to those microfinance, if you go to those Shyrock companies, those non-deposit taking financiers, you will cough a lot of money in terms of interest, and all the money you collect from this business will be swallowed up by the repayment of those loans. So some dilemmas come in when people want to buy second-hand vehicles. The issue is you need to collect cash money. You need to have all the money you need cash at hand. And that is why a lot of drivers sometimes are not able to buy vehicles from the second-hand market, because maybe they have saved maybe 100K and a good second-hand vehicle is going for around 500K. So in that instance, drivers have no option than just to save up to their 100 or 200K, and then they go and borrow from a microfinance. But my advice has always been this: if you don't have the cash money, 500K, to buy from a second-hand market, then save, my brother. You do the math that the cost that you will incur by repaying a loan. And I would say that you better delay your gratification of owning a vehicle for another 1 or 2 years, another 24 months. And the money that you would have otherwise been paying towards that interest, save that money and target to buy your vehicle close to out-of-pocket cash. Save as much as you can until you have like 80% of that money. But now the other problem is the discipline in cash management and saving. A lot of people have no otherwise than just to put themselves in those traps of financing that are too expensive, and they pay the price of not having the discipline to you know, to be consistent in their savings and to be disciplined. So that is my take from this video. I hope next year will unfold well, but a lot of dynamics that will shift, you know, that will make the market change in some ways. But we are all there to learn together. And thank you guys for your support. I love you so much, and see you very soon in my next video.